Now, usually, I like to start these off with a bit of a ambiguous intro, saying maybe I'm gonna like this rapper in the end, maybe I won't, so as to not spoil how I feel. Yeah, that's not happening today, guys. Of course, I'm gonna try and be as fair and constructive as I can here, but holy shit, this is one of the hardest videos I've ever had to make. Let me remind you that Total Xanarchy made my twin, CDTVProductions, read a book rather than listen to the music itself. You know, I'm actually reading this book about beer right now. I don't even like beer, but I'm getting more satisfaction out of this right now than the album, so that song made me want to read. So let's just get on with this. To prepare for this video, I listened to Total Xanarchy, Toothache and CITGO. So with that being said, guys, this is CDTVProductions. You can of course support the channel by clicking that new sponsor button down below. It's a new feature that YouTube is rolling out. It's essentially like Patreon but directly through YouTube, so it's a lot more convenient. And for a set price of $5 a month, you'll get a bunch of perks. If you just click on that sponsor button, it'll show you what the perks are. It doesn't take you away from the video, so have a look at that, see if it's something you might be interested in. And why is Lil Xan one of the worst rappers in the game? Let's find out. You already know the drill. Part 1, we're going to be looking at his voice. Now again, I'm trying to offer helpful criticisms here, but Xan's voice is honestly best described as uniquely annoying. I don't know how he manages it, but he somehow manages to pull off sounding irritating, but also lazy at the same time. And I'm not quite sure how he does it. Usually rappers with annoying voices, usually they're either one of two things, right? They're either nasally and annoying, or just mumbly and boring. But Lil Xan somehow combines both of those. The best comparison I could draw is he kind of sounds like a baby, but with no charisma. Tripping on all the stupid issues. I swear that I don't miss you. And that is how he sounds on the majority of tracks. Also, sometimes he'll go to either extreme, as there's songs like F My Teachers where he removes the babyish aspect of his voice completely, and because of that, he just sounds straight up lethargic. And songs like Diamonds, where he definitely is less boring, but at the expense of sounding horribly unbearable. And don't get me started on when he uses autotune, man. For some rappers, autotune is a great way to mask their flaws and make their voice better, but on tracks like No Love, the way Xan delivers his rapping just exaggerates the bad aspects of his voice instead of hiding them. I like fucking those, yeah, I don't care if she think what, I put my dick in that bed, what, I put my dick in that bed, what. So are there any examples or things that I do like about his voice? Well, on some occasions, there are some tracks where Lil Xan just somehow manages to make things work vocally. For example, on Saved by the Bell, his delivery is actually nice. It's more relaxed in a way that fits the beat and matches the tone of the song. And the way it's mixed obviously also helps with this, but his delivery was better on here. All my bitches fuck with bitches, all my bitches love my bitches. I also think his delivery works decently on the song Far. That is, until he starts slurring everything. Up until that point, it's good. There's a few songs I like his voice on, but it's not enough to get him more than a 2 out of 10 here. He really needs to find a way to make his voice work better for him, because at the moment, it's bad, and like I said, it's bad in a pretty unique way. And for our second segment, we are going to be looking at Lil Xan's flow. I put my dick in that bit, yeah. Xan's flow is a tough one because I'm having a hard time identifying what his go-to flowing style is. And what I mean by that is, like, there's a lot of songs where you can just look at his flow and you can completely compare it to another rapper's style, and that's not really something you want. TikTok sounds like he's biting Playboi Carti with that single syllable flow. Diamond sounds just like a cadence Lil Uzi would use, albeit delivered in a more grating way from Xan. And Honestly, sometimes his verses just don't even sound like they have a flow. A lot of his stuff is just barely rhythmic murmuring. Like, where is the cadence on songs like Goth Bitch or Pink Roses? He just doesn't rap in an interesting way on so many of his tracks. Combine that with his delivery, and it's a deadly combination in the worst way. That's not to say he never has good flows though. For example, I think he provides a perfectly acceptable one on the song Shine Hard with Rae Sremmurd.
From a bitch, she a top-notch bitch, yeah. Got an attitude, she drive me crazy. Gotta calm her down, so she get Mercedes. Screaming, fuck the haters, I don't need them, baby.
At least that actually has a bit of a groove to it. His best song, Betrayed, also has a very nice flow on the first verse, and Heartbroke has a cool flow throughout. Most of the time though, his stuff just doesn't sound that impactful flow-wise. It sounds a lot more thrown together than it does finely crafted. I think I'll give Xan a 1.5 out of 10 here, because there is a ridiculous amount he can do to improve his flows. Out of the 27 songs I heard from him, only a handful did have engaging cadences. And for part 3, we're going to be talking about his lyrics. Now, the more observant ones in the audience will have noticed that the camera angle has changed. Only this side of my face is being lit up because, you know, I really don't have a way to work in my lighting setup properly here. But yeah, the reason for this camera angle change is because I need to be able to stand up and move around whilst talking about this shit right here. Every single time in this series that I've said someone has redefined my definition of generic worthless rap lyrics, another person just comes along, just bang, pulls that bar down, sets that bar even lower. But this might be the last time I say that in this series, because Xan has driven the bar lower than it has ever been. Look, if Lil Xan was watching this for some reason, here's the advice that I would offer. The way I see it, you have two options. You could either 1, hire a ghostwriter, or 2, step your shit up. Now, don't get it twisted. The purpose of what I'm saying here is not to roast Xan. It's just that genuinely at the moment, and just specifically in the terms of lyrics, he is lyrically embarrassing. I am not asking you to become a really complex lyrical rapper. I'm really not. I'm not expecting that. I just want something. Being an artist that mainly focuses on creating an atmosphere or the vibe of the music is completely fine, but it's not an excuse for shitty songwriting. If you've listened to his music, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you're gonna condemn Xanax in one song, it's probably not a good idea to promote every other drug under the sun on the very next song on your album. If you're gonna rap over emotional beats, give me some lyrics that are actually emotional so that it connects with me. If you're gonna rap over a hard beat, give me something hard that's personalized to you. Right now, he's just not doing that, and because of that, it gives him zero personality and character because there's just no consistency in his lyrics. There's nothing there. Speaking of the number 0, what a fucking segue that was, that is what Xan scores for this segment. Yep. A nice flat 0. Not once has he laid down a single verse that has engaged me. And that is pretty astounding. And for part 4, we're going to be looking at his beat selection. Have you ever heard someone say a rapper gets carried by their production? Well, a lot of the time, Lil Xan gets fucking airlifted by his. But hey, at least we have a somewhat positive segment in this video. Straight away, I want to say that I think Bobby Johnson is a fantastic producer that has provided some relatively simple but emotional sounding beats to Xan. It's a shame Xan can't match the emotion of the instrumental with his lyrics, but the underlying beats are very nice. Betrayed, Deceived, and Pink Roses all have these spacey pad sounds, and they add this really floaty feeling to the songs.
Hey, pop the trunk, I open up, I sold my soul a good price, out of sight. My hoe got talent, right?
He also produced the track Xanarchy, giving it a really upbeat vibe with the synths and bell melody, so big shout outs to him. Other favourite beats of mine here are No Love, Shine Hard and Moonlight. Overall, it's mostly positive here, but my issue really comes in when Xan tries to rap over beats that just clearly do not suit him. What beats am I talking about? I'm talking about the dark, sinister ones that don't fit his style at all because he doesn't portray an intimidating rapper. A good example of this is OTW. On its own, I think it's a very nice beat, but it's just something that does not suit Lil Xan. This is an issue as well on the songs Talazan. Yes, it is actually called that. Beat Bout It, Wake Up, and TikTok. He raps over these beats fairly often, and it's something that, just in my personal opinion, he should stop doing because it doesn't fit his voice or his persona. Overall though, like I said, it's mostly positives for this segment. I'm gonna give Xan a 7 out of 10 for this segment. I just think he needs to work on picking more suitable beats sometimes, but most of the time he's not bad. He's not bad at picking beats. And for part 5, I'm gonna be telling you how much I enjoyed this experience as a whole. I wonder if I'm gonna give him a positive score here. I mean, I've loved everything so far. So in terms of enjoyment, my ranking for his projects goes like this. From favourite to least favourite, we've got Xanarchy, Toothache, Total Xanarchy, and CITGO. I really wanted to put Total Xanarchy last because that album is just shockingly bad. Like, Charlie XCX had the best rap verse on your album, but CITGO has nothing redeemable about it really. It's much shorter, sure, but it has no highlights. Xanarchy was definitely the easiest one to get through, so that's why that takes my favourite spot. And Toothache is basically betrayed in 2 other tracks, so it could be worse. Yeah, this was not a good one. I'm being 100% serious when I'm saying this took so long because my head hurt every time I tried to write the script. His stuff panders to fake emos and teenage schoolgirls more than Twilight Man. I feel like that's probably a bit of an outdated comparison, but nonetheless, I'm sticking to it. Seriously, songs with titles like F My Teachers have led me to believe that the only people who can be serious Lil Xan fans are teenage schoolgirls. And if that's true, if some members of the female gender actually listen to this music, I might have to change my sexuality just so I can avoid you. Lyrically, he's just pretty awful, inconsistent, and struggles to follow a theme. His flow isn't really anything unique, and he delivers his vocals in the most irritating way. There's a select amount of songs he has that I would say are alright, but the only one I'm really gonna keep coming back to is Betrayed. I'm gonna give Lil Xan a big old 0.5 for this segment. It was just really hard for me to have a good time with his music. So now I will be giving my final score to Xan and ranking him amongst all the other rappers we have looked at in this series so far. So Lil Xan scores 11 out of 50 as his overall rating for this video. This, unfortunately, does not place him as the worst rapper in the game, but it does put him at number 20, the second to last spot below Lil Pump and just above my 2007 god, Soulja Boy. You might think that sounds harsh, but I genuinely rather listen to Pump. At least his energy and flows have been improving recently. If we want to look at this in a positive light, Xan has an insane amount of room for growth. He can definitely improve. I genuinely think if he sits down and works on his music, he could put out something nice. So there you have it. A painful experience, but it's one that I went through, so the lucky ones of you who haven't went through it yet don't have to. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I always get a good feeling when I put a worst rappers in the game video out. It gets me excited, man. I love doing this series even though I don't do it that often because it does take a while to fully listen to and critique an artist's discography. Like I said, you can click that sponsor button or the link in the description below, which it will say like CDTVProductions/sponsor or something like that, something to that effect. Real quick, if I just want to run through some of the perks that you'll get to see every single video I put out early before anyone else does, and you'll see it directly on YouTube. You also get to vote in a poll who I do next in Worst Rappers in the Game. So from now on, my sponsors will actually be choosing that. There's just a whole lot of cool perks. Really cool of YouTube to roll out a feature like that. It pretty much kind of makes Patreon obsolete, but I like it because it's done all directly through YouTube, and it makes it a lot more convenient for me and for you guys. So, thank you so much for watching, guys. I will hopefully see you all in the next one, and this has been your boy, CDTVProductions, here with another Worst Rappers in the Game, another one probably coming soon. Next one's likely going to be on Juice WRLD, and I will see you guys all there. This is CDTVProductions, signing out.